Okay, this is just going to be hopefully a quick little demonstration on how to set up brochures with different types of folds in InDesign. We've got 5 different folds that we're going to look at here: TriFold, accordion fold, gatefold, double parallel fold, and barrel fold. Trim sizes are listed here, and then you can see a little illustration on how these actually will fold up. And then here's some little instructions on how the pages will be divided, and then some width adjustments. We want to do width adjustments on here because normally we'd have these pages divided by 3, but if all 3 pages were exactly the same size, when we fold some of these pages on the inside, if they're the same size and we folded the cover over, they would actually start to kind of bind up. So we make the ones that fold inside like this just a skosh smaller, and they're kind of explained on here how to deal with that. On the second page, there's some instructions on how to actually set up your document. I'm going to set up my document a little bit different than is explained here. This explanation is going to show that each one of these panels is going to be a separate page. I don't do that. I set mine up as a single page, front and back. I find it's just easier to do it this way and a little bit faster as well. And I don't have to do the math, and that's even better. To be honest, I think it's actually slightly more accurate to do it this way. But anyways, everybody's got their own way of doing it, and either way is fine, but I'm going to show you my way. So first off, I'm going to start by making this 8.5 by 11 document. So it's 8.5 by 11. We know that it's going to be divided by 3, and then we also know that it is going to have a bleed of 0.125 inches. Document slug is going to be 1/2 inch on the bottom, and the margin guides should be 1/4 inch on all sides. So create a new document here. You should be able to see my keyboard shortcuts showing up at the bottom of the screen here. Hopefully that helps. So first off, I'm going to change from picas to inches because I understand inches a lot better than I do picas. So it's going to be 8.5 by 11 in landscape. 2 pages because I got a front and a back. The start page doesn't matter, column pages don't matter. Margins, we're making those 0.25 inches as was stated on our instruction sheet. And then our instruction sheet calls for a bleed of 0.125 inches and then a slug of 1/2 inch at the bottom. Okay, I'm ready to go to create. And here's my document. I can only see one page right now, but if I zoom out here, I can see both my pages at the same time here. So this is totally fine to work this way if you want to work with the front page on one spread and the back page on the other spread. Totally fine, doesn't matter. But you can also work with them side by side if that makes it easier. That's up to you. I will show you how to put them side by side just so you know how to do it. But again, you don't have to work this way if you don't want to. So if you want to put them side by side, you can select both of your spreads here, and then we're going to tell InDesign to uncheck this allow document pages to shuffle. And that just allows me to move these pages around. Then I'm going to go into my toolbar, select my page tool, and then I can grab the second page and just slide it right up to the first one here. And what I want to do is I want to slide it up to where it actually kind of clicks to the side of the first one, and then I can drop it. That's the only way I can get up into this spread. And then you'll notice that they are together now and they're right side by side. But if I have the page tool, I can select this and I can move it wherever I want to, move it up or whatever. But it's going to be easier for me. I like to be a little more precise because my measurements will stay a little bit more sensible down the road if I do this by the numbers. So transform, I'm going to move this page. I'm just going to move it like 1 inch to the right. And there we go. It's moved over 1 inch to the right. And that makes it for a pretty good starting point. Next, I'm going to label my pages front and back. And that label just goes down into the slug area down here. So I'm going to create a box. It's going to slide into this slug area. And I'm going to title this one back. Let's see, we'll make that bigger and a little bit bolder. I'm going to center it in here, and then I've got it centered horizontally, and I'm just going to center it vertically. Here's how to center it vertically in that box. You right click on the type, and then you can go up to the text frame options, And then in text frame options, align center will move that type to the center of that box. Once I've got that set, I can option click and drag that over, and now I've got a front and a back label. I just need to retitle this one to be front. Boom. Okay, front and back. Okay, we know from the instructions on the sheet in here that it says that we want to divide this page up by 3, and then one of the panels is going to be a 32nd smaller and the other two are going to be a 64th bigger. So I'm going to start by dividing this page up by 3. I'll zoom in a little bit, make it easier. So I need to make a box first, but when I make a box, it's going to have a stroke on it a lot of times by default. I don't want to have the stroke because it will, by default, sometimes it will actually measure that stroke, and so I'm going to get rid of that just to make sure that I'm only measuring the box. And then when I've got the box selected here, maybe just a tiny bit larger, I'm going to option drag it and select and drag it over here and click to the side. It's the same size box. It's just joined up to the right hand side. And then I can do the same thing again if I want to, or if I want to cheat, I can go into my step and repeat dialog box. As soon as I open it, it's just going to give me 1, and that's what I want. I can say 2 if I want to, or whatever, but I'm just going to say 1, and that'll give me another box. And now I have these 3 all lined up nicely together. And I want to divide by 3, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually butt this up against the left-hand side, and then if I drag this out to the right-hand side and click it right to the edge at 11, then I've resized all 3 of these boxes the same amount, and I know that it's all 3 of them are adding up to 11, and so by default, this line is 1/3 of the way through. So there, I didn't have to do the math. So then next, I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete these 2 boxes because I already know that I want to have them all based off this one. And this box in here, I'm going to add a 64th of an inch. So again, I don't really want to do the math. So in my width box up here, I typed in plus 1/64th of an inch. You see that right there? And then when I hit enter, it's going to do the math for me. In fact, let me undo that. I'm going to copy this one down and we're going to do it again just to show you the difference. Okay, that plus 1/64, a little bit larger. Now if I come down and measure, I'll make a box and tell that to be 1 divided by 64 equals 0.0156, and that exactly 0.0156 difference. So pretty nifty. Okay, I don't need this box. So 2 panels are going to be this size, and we know that the last panel was going to be 1/32 smaller than the original one, which I deleted, but I don't really care because the only thing that matters is that it adds up to 11. So I just drag, whoops, option drag that over, and clicks into place. And then all I have to do is just drag that back. I basically know how big that panel is going to be. So that's where my front, back, and then my inside is the smaller panel that's going to slip inside. That's the smaller one right here, so I know where those go. So now all I need to do is just put my guides in. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop my guides. When I've got boxes there, the guides will snap right to them. It makes my life easier. Click, click, and there we go. Nice and easy. And I'm going to go ahead and do the back page while I'm at it here. So I'm going to select these 3 panels, move it to the back page. But the back page is actually exactly the opposite of the front page. So I'm going to flip this over. So if I come up to here, the little flip over button, boom, flip that over. Oops, I actually got to flip it over the center point. That'll make my life even easier. So flip it over to the center point, click, and just move it over the center point. Didn't see it move much because there's not much of a difference between these. I can move my guides out here, click, click, and there, place, delete them. Okay, so now I have my guides where they need to be for each of these. And then I can put my margins in for each of these because I want to see where the margins are. So margins are 1/4 inch from the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a box here. Okay, don't have any stroke on it. Make a box, and that box just needs to be, I'm going to make it 1/2 inch wide. I'm going to make it 1/2 inch wide because then when I drag this box over this, it'll snap to the middle, and then I can automatically just click my guides to either side of it. And I can drag my guides off the top and make them go horizontal if I just hold out my Option key. It's a little trick. Click right there. And then I can drag this box up here and do the same thing. And you notice that my guides, so I can, let me back up here, I'm going to show you how this works. So my guides, if I want to have my guides go off the page and kind of go over everything, if I go out here with them, when I go outside of it there, if I go outside of my page, then the guides will snap outside of here, and they'll go across, the whole margin and everything. So if you ever want to have it go outside of there or go across multiple pages, you can do that. Or if I want to have it snap just to this page, I can go inside here like this. Click, click, and snap one more in here. And if I want to be really lazy, I can grab the guides with my box here. Is it going to let me do it? Oh, it didn't let me do it. Dang. That's right. Grab these. It's just being a little difficult. There we go. Okay, now I can lock my guides and delete these boxes. Go back to the instructions, take a peek here. Okay, so we've got those in place. Blah, blah, blah. We'll get there. Fold type in the slugger as well as your name. Okay, so one more thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually add a spot where the fold is going to go. So what I'm going to do is create a line segment. Let's see, line segment. Make that line segment go 0.25 inches tall and give it a stroke. Actually, make that a little taller, make it 1/2 inch tall. And then that stroke, we're going to stroke in here so we can see it. I am going to make that stroke a dashed line, and I'm going to make it a hairline, which is 0.25 inches. And then I'm going to center it right over the fold mark here. And I want to zoom in pretty close on this because this fold can do something kind of tricky. It can go on either side or in the middle, and you want to make sure it goes in the middle of that fold. Count on fold, you can do it. Go a little thicker with it, and there we go. That over, and I'm going to go in and make sure that center in place. A little difficult. Okay, zero out. Awesome. Take these two, align these on the bottom. just want those to go out to the edge of the bleed, and I usually just nudge it back in a couple of times. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times is good. Okay. I can just copy drag this down with the shift key. I don't have to worry about it anymore. To the edge of that bleed. 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Actually, I left an extra one of these. No problem. Okay, I'm gonna grab both these and then deselect my little bar down the bottom here. And I'm just going to group those together just in case. Drag them over. I just have to make sure that one of these is centered correctly and all of them should be centered correctly. Okay. We're going to cheat here. Let's get a pan it up. Object. Out. Object, transform, move. Move it 0.5 point. And don't really have to question whether it's in place now. Okay, 0. And I'm going to slide this up. I'm going to slide it up. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now I've got those in place. I got basically my. I'm gonna take all of these as well. Now that I've got them, I've looked at 1 point thickness. I'm going to take all those and go back to my stroke. All those should be 0.25 stroke. Okay, cool. Awesome. Very good. Okay. So I've got that pretty much all set. Let's see, is there anything else? We want to put the page numbers on there with the width in place. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to go create a box here. And this is going to be page 1, center, oops, center that, make that nice and big. So 2 point. And underneath that, we'll put the width, drop that down in size to like maybe 4 point. Okay, now all I gotta do is look and see how big is this box. It is, width is 3.6806 wide. Copy that. By inches. By 5 inches. Okay, that's panel 1. Now panel 2 should be the same size. And actually, this is just not going to be panel 2. We'll just call it right now panel X. Figure that out later. And this guy. Okay, and then I can take all 3 of these panels and move them to the back page here. They're in the wrong spot. This one goes over here. There we go, everything's lined up. Okay, now, how big is, oops, we got a glitch here. Okay, 3.6332. .6806, 3.6806, those are correct. 3.6332. Copy. Oops. Paste. 3.6806, 3.6806. Okay, got that set. Now I just need to figure out which page is. That's interesting. Okay, which one is going to be page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4? So this is somewhat subjective, but we know this is going to be page 1. Next page we're going to see when we open it up is going to be folded in. It's going to be this panel folded over. This should be page 2. Double check against the guide here too. And then we open up, let's see here, we got this. TriFold brochure, one, okay, I see. Call this one 2. Three. 4, 5. Now normally you would just take this and make it dummy. Doesn't have to be the right size or anything, but just to see how these fold and see how they naturally unfold. Okay, let's look back at the 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 6. Yep, 1, 2, 6. There we go. And back it there again. 6, 8, 2. So we have slightly different measurements on here. 3.635. But that's only because mine is just ever so slightly more exact. Yeah. Okay. You can change the measurements on here if you want to make it just like this, but trust me, these measurements are totally correct. Yeah, and then you just want to name this the TriFold brochure. So down here, below this, we will go oops. Brochure. Oh, I did totally wrong there. TriFold brochure. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay. You want to save this document, and then we will want to PDF this. Let me see here what we got here with corrections. PDF this and upload it to Canvas. Upload all PDFs to Canvas, and Canvas keeps the native InDesign files for your records. Actually, you want to upload the native InDesign document too. So, and you can actually, the cool thing is if you want, you can make all of your templates in the same document. Kind of a cool little thing. But I'll show you that in class. But otherwise, hope this helps a little bit. Good luck and happy making brochures.